would really like to be able to empower the players to really customize and make their own game modes as much as possible. So
What's up, guys? This is a video where I show you all an exclusive interview of Hello Friend, the sole developer of the game Countdown. He goes over his beginnings, his ideas behind the game, and where he plans to take it in the future, ensuring that the player base is what's on his mind the entire way through. I'm really excited to show you guys this interview, and I hope you enjoy. So, what first gave you the idea or passion to do something like this?
I mean, it depends on how far back you go. But I mean, I was first introduced to asymmetrical multiplayer games with Splinter Cell. Like I think it was Chaos Theory or Chaos something. It was an old game where there was mercenaries and like spies, like secret agents. So the mercenaries were first person and the spies were third person, and they would sneak around. And if you get noticed as a spy, you pretty much are dead because they can shoot you. But if you're clever as the spy or the secret agent, then you can like knock them out with a dart or something like that. So the fascination and interest in asymmetrical multiplayer games, it goes back a long way. But definitely heavily inspired by Among Us, and then I was just sitting there talking with my brother on the couch and thinking about different ideas, and Among Us, like in 3D, that came up, and proximity chat, that was like, we thought about that, I think before, well, at least before we knew it was a mod, back in like November or October, we were talking about it. Now it's like in every streamer's repertoire where you have proximity chat. But probably back in October or November is whenever like the idea really started to form. Yeah, I'd say probably October or November.
Okay. Yeah, because I see streamers sometimes having games where it's like modded. They're modding other games to be like Among Us, but this is the first one I've seen where it's like legit from the foundation up meant to be a 3D Among Us.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely don't want it to be like a carbon copy. Like that's gonna be, Among Us is sort of like the base boiler template, right? And then if you press tab, you can see like a list of settings, right? Just like in Among Us. I mean, the eventual plan is like as people play and request more and more ideas, I mean, we'll eventually have pages full of settings. And then, like in Overwatch, if you have a setting that you like, you can export a code. So then you can just share a code with a friend and go like hide and seek mode, or go what is it, jester mode, or sheriff mode. Like there's all these different modes, right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like putting all this together? Was it really difficult, fun, kind of mix?
I mean, I've been putting stuff together since I was like software since I think 13 is whenever I first I built a D&D version of like a D&D map on StarCraft, because StarCraft was my first introduction to sort of logic or scripting. And so I mean, I've always been fascinated, and I've always had fun. Like this, I get consumed by it. So I would say it's definitely fun. I'd say that my experience with Unreal was absolutely nothing before October. I messed around with Unity for a while, and Unity was okay. Maybe the multiplayer engine has gotten better, but I worked on it for like 4 years. 5 years, 6 years, I don't know how long. I got a job actually working as a game developer for about 9 months. I grew gray hair, and then the company went under, so I went back to my normal job. But it was definitely interesting to learn Unreal. A lot of the assets in here are like inspired by, or mostly like from the asset store, and reprogrammed or remeshed or rematerialed or repurposed or recoded to meet the needs of Countdown.
Oh, that's really cool.
Okay.
Develop my own like models in ZBrush and Substance Painter. I've gotten really familiar with Substance Painter, and I mess around with Maya and Blender, you name it. But I mean, I've only dabbled, but substance paper is probably the one I know the most because I've repainted materials and then had to re-export them as like in preparation for Unreal, and then learn how to map them in the materials in Unreal. So yeah.
Awesome. So where did you get a lot of your like the ideas behind the types of tasks and then doing an AI over just like the normal imposter idea?
So the androids came about from what's it called? From like Alien Isolation, right? So I actually was dabbling in Unity a while back on creating sort of this like killer asymmetrical multiplayer game where there's a killer in the vent and they had tentacles and you had to like complete these objectives, and then if you ran into the wrong vent, then you would you would get grappled by the tentacle, and the tentacle and the alien monster in the vents was in VR. All the other players were playing on a PC. Anyways, yeah, Alien. I would say Alien Isolation. If you know the androids in there, like they're like worker Joes, right? I'd say it was heavily inspired by that. Just as far as androids and AI, and I mean just. Think of I love AIs going rogue. I mean, Elon Musk has it right. Yeah. And I'd like to right now it's it's still a work in progress, but to have this more horror-esque in a sense would be great, right? You're going around doing tasks, scared that somebody's gonna come and get you, like the android's gonna come and get you. Like to actually be scared would be like that's the eventual intention. Yeah, and like your best friend, like if you're teamed up with them, right? After playing a certain amount of times, you're like you don't know whether your best friend is actually going to betray you or not, right?
Exactly.
Like whatever it may be, like I've thought of like certain abilities such as like stealing somebody else's color for a few minutes or like for 20 seconds, right? And jumping in a vent, right? And like if you could steal somebody's color for 10 seconds and just trick somebody else into thinking that they jumped into a vent, then like, okay, you saw somebody jump into a vent, but was it really them? I mean, maybe not that element or mechanic exactly, right? Because I've got to make sure it's balanced and it's conducive to because it's a very social game, right? I want to make sure that all of the mechanics and gameplay abilities are conducive and help sort of drive the fun and paranoia when it comes to playing, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say one idea that just popped in my head is maybe you could have like a room where if you're the AI, you could kill somebody, drag their body in there. So you risk people seeing you dragging a body, but you could take off their suit and put it on, and then stash your old one somewhere else. But that body's still gonna be like there,
So there's a post-processing effect I've got that's disabled right now just because I've got to fine-tune it. You actually saw it, Alaskan Viking, whenever you were in the vent as the android. The sort of red glow, right? It's currently disabled for both parties, but I mean that is definitely a way to do that while the lights are out. And then because right now if the lights go out, you have it's pitch black, but you have if you look on your helmet, you got a little sort of module on the top right of your helmet. That's where the flashlight comes from. Right now I'm not sure whether it's too bright or not, so we'll see in a second when we play and somebody turns off the lights. We'll see whether it's good or not. And sort of piggybacking on that idea around dragging bodies, I really love it because Hitman's out and I love dragging bodies around as the Hitman. But if you could drag a body to the airlock, because there's an airlock in this game, and you can trigger it as the imposter, or as the android rather, you can trigger the airlock as the android and send the bodies out into space, and then nobody could ever report it.
Oh, you see, that's a good way to do it too. Yeah, because I feel like it'd be fun to risk dragging the body, like obviously it'd be super risky because you're giving yourself away, and maybe you could be slowed down by like 50% or something, just to make it even more difficult.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there could be like little storage places too, and then the humans could go and if they're running by something, they could check the storage place if they really want. But that takes a little bit of time out of their task duties. Yeah, exactly.
You could also add like a
Exactly.
little troll thing where you can take off people's helmets and leave it places after you kill them just to make people freaked out.
I like that. I like myself some gore and some dismemberment. I'll take it.
Yeah, I definitely feel
Take
like some
people's
gore
heads.
elements would make the game stand out even more, you know? Well, maybe just kind of like one final statement on what you see coming in the near future, or maybe even the far future, and maybe when you think the game's gonna officially leave early access.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'm gonna bring up my like timeline roadmap.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Okay, so well, we're on version 0.6 right now, right? So by 0.7, I want to have this level sort of like I want to have it polished. So right now it's pretty basic. I think it's nice. There's definitely a little bit of lag I've been feeling just because there's too many lights. But yeah, so polishing. I want to have this level polished. The plan is to have it polished and in a pretty good state by like mid-February, to where like the map that you see, which is auto-generated at that point by mid-February, I want to create a more stylized version of it. So that's immediate future, and then also by that point have like the first draft of the data encryption mechanic. I want to have that in by mid-February as well. So that how that's going to work is because the AI has risen up and gained consciousness, right? The whole point of the androids is to make sure that they don't bring that evidence. The humans don't bring that evidence and share it with other humans, right? So there's going to be a competing level of encryption. So as the androids increase the level of encryption, once it gets past like level 3 or level 4 and encryption, the humans can't leave. They cannot leave the space station. So in other words, they can't win. So the androids will be able to increase the levels of encryption, and the humans will be able to decrease the levels of decryption with like a terminal, right? Whatever task that may be, right?
Okay.
So that's one. That's like a separating or a mechanic that definitely want to have like the first draft of, and it's going to take some tweaking to get it right, but have that in by like mid-February, and then the self-destruct sequence mechanic, I want to have the first draft of that in by like end of next month, and then controller usage. Right now, if you plugged up your Xbox controller, I think pretty much all of the buttons will work, but you don't have like you have prompts in the menu, but you don't have prompts in game. So I've got I'm working through that as well. I want to have that up and going by end of next month, and then after that, dedicated servers, Discord integration, trinkets and aesthetics, Twitch integration, a Steam achievement system. And have physics-based tasks, so like carry this item over here, or balance this weight object, or whatever, right? And then so hopefully aiming for, let's see, it's end of January now, so I'm thinking like hopefully by April, May-ish could be 1.0.
Awesome.
Rough date, but that would be like that. I think that's at that point I'll be pretty comfortable with the game to release it to 1.0, and sooner or later here, whenever as our player base increases, there'll be a beta version of Countdown, right? Because as developers know, as you add more and more or fix more and more issues pop up. So we'll need to make sure to have like a beta branch, and that'll probably be in the game by like mid-month next month. I'll have that sort of beta branch growing. Lobby codes. So same for like in Among Us that where you can punch in a code, or like in Phasmophobia, you can punch in a code to join somebody else's game. So that's going to enable cross-platform. So I want to eventually, I've already applied for the Xbox developer program. I've got to submit like a video and some details, but I want to get this on the Xbox platform as well. So whenever we get closer to 1.0, I want to start testing cross-platform. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. I've already done a lot of research, and it should work just fine. Of course, there's always going to be issues and stuff we have to work through. I assume once I get the first Xbox build up and going, it'll be probably a month or so before we really tweak and get all the bugs. So at that point, we'll have to have dedicated servers. So assuming we have enough, assuming we have enough purchases going, right? I'll be able to spin up some dedicated servers, so that way we don't have to, like right now, if you host a game, it's all hosted through the Steam API, so you can join each other's games, right? But
yeah.
I mean, eventually we would want to have it so dedicated servers.
Cool, okay. Do you think you would ever be one of those games that has regular players also have their own dedicated servers, that kind of style?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've already got a dedicated server sort of build for Linux and for Windows. I was actually exploring the possibility a lot for like around Christmas time, and I got like a Linux build of the server, and I could deploy it to like a cluster on Amazon if I wanted to.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, absolutely. If players wanted to like spin up their own version or spin up their own dedicated server and have it hosted locally or whatever they wanted to do, yeah, absolutely, they can get it and the config or whatever they wanted to do with it.
Cool.
Empower the player, man. Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
I'd say like as a final sort of statement. I mean, really, I want to have a base level game, but you know, like would really like to be able to empower the players to really customize and make their own game modes as much as possible. So, based on like the game settings like we were talking about earlier, you can choose your game settings, you can export a code, you can share that code with your friends and say, hey, try out this game mode and try out these settings and yada yada yada, right? So
for sure.
I really want to be able to just really give the power to whoever's playing to do whatever they want.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that you're
one benefit. Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the there's pros and cons to being like the single developer on it, right? I mean, the con is, well, I mean, it's only me, right? But the pro is like it's very fast iterative cycles. Like I don't have any interdependencies on anybody, right? Like as soon as somebody says they want something or think something's cool, I can implement it like that night and test it the next day and have it ready the following day, right? So
yeah,
it could be very closed loop feedback as far as like, hey, I want this feature. Okay, sure, give me a few days.
Alrighty guys, that is it for the interview of Hello Friend. I'm sure I will be doing another one when the game reaches its beta phase, roughly in mid-February. Until then, make sure you are all checking out the Countdown playlist as well as my other gaming content. But hey, have a good one everybody.